listen to them. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Just follow the light. You're almost there. Just open your eyes. It's right there. Don't be afraid. Be strong. You're not alone. Take a deep breath been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up our love friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone. We don't need nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own. We came to party all night long and sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone. Making plans up as we go, worried as when no one knows just how we want it. Going left, going right, doesn't matter tonight, just how we want it. We want it. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone. We don't need nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own. We came to party all night long and sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone.
Hello explorers and welcome to another live stream. Today we are going to continue playing around with stuff to buy, and we're gonna solve some bugs that I found. We're gonna look into some different implementations and perhaps even looking into creating a Chrome extension. We'll see how far we get. I have a lot of bullet points of things that I want to look into, and all depends on how hard each of them are to implement. We will see how far we'll get. So let's start off with a bug. The bug I found was directly from a URL that I wanted to add. I wanted to add this quad HDMI recorder the other day, and it just gets white. I don't get anything back, so it's a very bad example. But if I look into the code of the web page, the stuff are there, and there are actually put in the correct fields and everything. So it should be parsable, but something goes wrong here. So let's start by opening the dev console and actually looking into what we get back here and see if we can figure out what's wrong. Does this? It's totally empty. We just get the URL back. So that's what we were expecting. So let's look into the code and see what's failing here. Let's do some debugging and look at some outputs. So let's see here. If we want, we can first off look at the title and see. Let's print R that title thing. Matches. So we don't get any matches here. Is that a problem? Let's see. We got an empty array here, so something is going totally wrong. So let's look into the content. Yeah, we will look at the page here. So let's take that and look at this page and see if we can figure out if there is some disturbances in the force here. So if we watch the page source here and we go to OG title, title, I'm pretty sure that I saw that meta tag here somewhere. Meta. So we have a lot of meta fields here. So where did I see that then? If I don't see it here. I was pretty sure that I had those in the document. We open this up in inspect here and go up here and look into the header. We have OG things here, prefix, viewport. Yeah, there we have a meta property of title. So that's interesting. We get a meta property here of title, but if we look at the source of the page, we don't get that. Look at the frame source. Is that different? So let's see. Meta. So is it that the meta tags and description are in JavaScript? That would be very sneaky. So we need to parse it out from there, perhaps. So we have a title here, page title. So it's a redux state, which gives this title for us. That makes things a bit trickier. That's the problem. I see. So in order to fix this, we would actually have a requirement of parsing the document as JavaScript, as a full document, and running all the JavaScript in the page in order for it to actually produce the right output. I wonder if there is a PHP plugin for... Yeah, I'm very sorry. I should have set up my layout here so you see something. So now we are actually seeing the things. So the problem here is that we have this page and we see here that we have a meta tag property here. We don't see these meta tags. They are missing, and the reason is that everything is down here in some JavaScript in the page. So what we need to do is actually parse the page and actually run it to get the final output of the page. Let's see if we can solve that. PHP render page to HTML. Render HTML page from render HTML pages in PHP or Java. Let's see here. So we have Phantom.js. Yeah. So that's not a plugin for PHP, right? So what's this? Can write the variable in a different view. Render page, run JavaScript before. How to run JavaScript from PHP. Well, this seems like a pretty gnarly problem. But it is a very interesting challenge. Server-side rendering of PHP. Server-side rendering. Laravel and server-side rendering. Perhaps we can reuse this code. So that's just for one JavaScript. Seems that this will just render the normal JavaScript into a page. So if you have any library like Redux or any of those Angular and so on, and you have everything in JS, you can render it server-side and send that out. So that could be a solution for some use cases, but I don't think it would solve this problem. So the easy way here would be to find the actual output that I want here. Backmagic design, deck link for instance, and see if I can find it here. Yeah, it isn't even in the page. Blackmagic design. Yeah. So Swedish name Blackmagic design, and then we have deck link. So that's the second line. Yeah. And you will look for the Swedish content and so on. So there it's going through and taking a JSON blob and extracting information from that. No, not doing it. So I need to figure something out there. Need to see if I can find a way to... Perhaps we can use an online engine for that. Render page online Opera? Mini, perhaps? render HTML page online. Real-time HTML renderer. Yeah, wasn't that? Perhaps isn't there a page for rendering the Google bots page? So implementing dynamic rendering. We have Puppeteer, of course. So that can render the page. And then we have the Renderaton that I've looked at earlier. That we can install the Renderaton and run that, and that would render our page for us, and that we use to then, well, let's see if I start the Renderaton here. Do I still have that? Yeah, I still have the Renderaton here. So let's see here. Renderaton, install, run, build. Let's see here if we can get that up and running. Takes a while to get it started. You can also deploy it as a G-app if you like. Okay, missing script build. Run start. So why does it say run build? If that's not available. So we have started it. So it will have been started on. Yeah, we need to reinstall it. So, because I have changed the version of my JavaScript here. So let's see. Rebuild. Perhaps it's just rebuild. Let's try that. See if that works. How are you all doing today? I see that we have some viewers at least. I hope that you find this interesting, where I'm fumbling around looking for solutions to how to render a page. I'm not sure if that worked. No, it doesn't. So I had this problem in one of my need to update this page, this installation. I think there should be either this works, or there should be a flag to update during install or rebuilding. Perhaps we could look at that. npm install upgrade. So let's see here. I think there should be one. Yeah, we can do update. That's what I did. I hope that works. Takes a little while to run through. think we had one viewer last time that asked me to look into creating a Chrome plugin. I think his name was VJ. I actually don't know if that's a sir or a madam, that name. I'm not really well versed in names of different countries. I believe it's an Indian name, perhaps. But I could be wrong there too. I know that I have a few Indian viewers, so that's a good guess, I guess. So we are still updating this. So what countries do we have in the chat today? You can answer that perhaps, if you are still listening to me ramble here while we update our packages. Let's see. Come on. How many packages could it be to update the Renderatron? And see if we can get this to work. Because if we have the Renderatron working, that should be able to fix all the issues we might have with JavaScript creating source for us that we don't have at the moment. So I hope that could be a solution. Come on. So what do you like? This shirt, color of the shirt. It's the color of the channel, and I'm trying out some new shirt designs and so on. See if that could be something that I want to put on the channel later. I don't know if anybody is interested in it. I just thought it was fun to actually make a shirt. I've never done that before. And I actually was pretty satisfied with them when they arrived. They had the right color, they had pretty much the right print on them. One of the samples had printing totally wrong, and the interesting thing there is, if you look at it on the site, they actually had turned it around so you don't see it. So they are so sneaky if they know that, oh, we will really mess up this design. They turn it around so you just see the backside, and if everything else looks fine, then you think that should be fine as well. And I ordered one of those, and when I looked at the front side, the text was misaligned, and of course it was not a good sample, so I had to update that one. So now we have the Renderatron here. So can we give the Renderatron a URL? I believe there should be a URL command perhaps, and then we see here. Do we keep that? There we have it, URL. If we put it in here, what happens then? Render? Take a screenshot. View documentation. How does this work? Get a render URL. Okay. See if that works. We are running the Renderatron. And we didn't get anything back. Ah, nice. So I guess that we need to run the Renderatron. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, we got something extra. Let's see if that works better. Otherwise we need to actually do it with the URL decode or encode. URL encode online. Let's see. Academic sounds really have some nice beats you can have in the background while we are stumbling and trying to get the renderatron to render our page. The interesting thing is that we didn't get any errors. Oh, let's see. Now it's actually rendering something. We got some part of the page. Let's look at the source. Was that enough? No. We got less data, right? Attempting to render. So we have a budget for rendering. So let's try it again and see if we get more the second time. So this seems at least to do the job of trying to render the page. But it doesn't really work to render this page, sadly. So it was worth a try, and I think Rendertron is more if you actually have a site with yeah, like stuff to buy, for instance. So if we take that instead, say here, stuff to buy.app. So I believe it's more if you have a progressive web app or something that you want to. Oh, it's good if I actually do the encode. Much easier then. Let's see. So here it does the rendering of stuff to buy. I think that should work better for pre-rendering, because then you have a site that has some JavaScript in it and are more built for the web. Well, that might be wrong. It worked very well on a React app when I tried that. It worked well on an Angular app as well. So that got a really good render with the Rendertron. So, yeah, seems like it had no problem of rendering my app. So what's next up here? Yeah, so we have another issue that I think it's easier to solve here actually. And so let's look into that. Close some of these. I don't think we need any of them. Another problem that I had was if I have this and then I open up, let's say, an incognito window here and put it in, it didn't actually load the products if I had an empty app. So let's see here if we have the application. We clear all the site data. And let's see here. Local storage. Yeah, so the index DB is empty. Reload here, no? So if I reload this, yeah, it seems to work just fine. So that's strange. I'm pretty sure that I had a problem with it. As you see here, if I bring this Firefox window over here, I had the problem that it didn't load in one of my... Yeah, here we see it. Is it a Firefox issue? No, Firefox is just slow of rendering my things. So let's see here if we try an Opera window and see if that works. It should work in all browsers. Even if we open up a link it's never seen before, it should just work. Let's see here. We have the Opera browser. Speedy Gonzalez. Takes forever to load. Here we go. I don't really get this one. Why hide the essential information in the URL? Yeah, we're at this site. Where we are, we don't know. You don't care. We don't know if it's HTTPS or if it's HTTP. We don't know if we are at a specific URL or if we are at the real site or a phishing site. Yeah, not our problem. Yeah, strange. But I think that we've solved that issue as well. So it was a bug that I saved to look at during the live stream, but if we can't, I hate these kind of bugs. We have a bug that happens sometimes. It's so frustrating when you have something that you have tried multiple times, you haven't got it to work, and you just want to find a solution for it, and now I've waited for a while and I've thought what could be the problem. I've gone around and actually thought about it while I'm painting the house over here. So we have washed the whole house and now we are actually starting to paint it. And I have been thinking about this problem during that process in order to find a solution. And now that I'm trying to reproduce it doesn't really occur. So that's nice. Thank you. Yeah. So, what's next on the agenda? We are trying to see if we can create an extension. And I have tried to create extensions for... I have created an extension for Mozilla Firefox. No, Mozilla Thunderbird ones. It was when you have to encrypt emails, before you didn't have any control over that. It actually just encrypted, never encrypted anything, never signed anything if you didn't actually tell it to do it, which was very frustrating. So I built this super simple plugin looking for if you have a key, sign your emails. And if you have a specific public key of the recipient that you wanted to send to, you should also encrypt the email. So it was very simple. It was just looking, do you have the key for this person? Send an email encrypted. If you have keys, sign your things. And it worked pretty well. So it shouldn't be that hard to actually create a plugin for or extension for Chrome, I guess. So I had a little look up how to actually do that and found a little tutorial here. So let's put this into our browser here. You can also drag over my extensions here. I have a few of them. You see I use Coursera, a really good extension if you like to know what color is in a specific page. So you just pick that out. Evernote for all my notes, Grammarly, LastPass for all my passwords, Lightshot. That's if you want to do a screenshot. Pretty good with there too. Squirrel, of course, and TubeBuddy. I use that. And then I have some docs down here. So let's put on the developer mode here, and then you should load an unpacked extension here. So I guess that is something that you can choose a directory when you have actually created your extension. So let's open this first here and then go to this one and create a folder, perhaps extension. And then I believe you should have a file here, but what should that file be called? Let's go back to the tutorial here. You should have a file called manifest.json. So let's create that one here, manifest.json. And then we should have something in our manifest, of course. So this should be the stuff to buy URL extension. And then we have add stuff you want to buy to your stuff to buy page, so you will remember. Do you remember? Remember. Remember. Yeah. It. There we have it. Manifest version. It could be 2. This extension is totally a 0.0.1. So let's see here. Can we just do format document? And that fixed that problem. So now if I do load unpacked, and let's see here, we go into stuff to buy directory here. In all my, have a lot of things on GitHub. Stuff to buy, extension. Woohoo! I have a plugin. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you have an ID here. Okay. Nice. So what does the guide say? Tell us next. Hello. Let's see here. There we go. So there it comes. Hello Daniel, what are you coding? Well, we are working on this site here, stuff to buy, and it's a site where you can put in URLs and keep track on what you are actually what you want to buy. So if I just pick this URL again, so this is the URL of this product here, and if I add that product, it will create a row down here with that product, and so I can remember that, okay, I want to buy this product later on. I don't know why it actually didn't. Did I shut that down? No? Strange. So what I wanted to look into now was something that VJ was asking me for. Why don't you do a Chrome extension for this? So you can add things from Chrome. So that was what I wanted to look into now. See if I can do something where you can add things to your cart or to your list of things to remember using Chrome or a plugin. Now it seems that this have totally gotten destroyed here. Don't really know what. We had a hard time to get it to recreate a bug earlier, and now we don't even have the original site working. That's nice. So let's see here if it's we have this service worker. Maybe we don't have a bypass for the network, so it might be confused here. Let's unregister the service worker and reload it. Takes forever to get a response here. Didn't I get a response at all of that? Still pending, okay. Might not be able to get that one. Let's say if we go to Amazon, just pick URL at random. Here we have a URL of this keypad here. I guess that could work. Let's put that in here, see? Why doesn't it work? See if we have a general problem. No. Seemed to work. It's not the problem with the code. Perhaps I need to restart my... Kill this one. There we go. So we don't have the renderatron. Let's restart the PHP server over here as well. Maybe that was the problem. It takes forever to get the response back. But this is not right. Because the URL should be URL encoded, right? So what's going on here? There we go. Don't we have URL encoded? No, we don't. I wonder if I want to do that. Because when we do this, we only accept things that are base64 encoded. And I think that's good for this page as well. Let's do that. And then say that we have the URL there. So now we check if it's base64 encoded. This is really, I think that this is the first code that I actually wrote about this, so that might be the case why it's not actually using base64 for the encoding of the URL in transit. So why is it doing this now? Stopping that. Have more than one computer here, so perhaps that's something that is interfering with my typing here. So I'm turning off that. Going back to Swedish keyboard. Perhaps that will help us. I can finally type here. So this should be the URL decoded. And then we have base64 decode of of this URL. That should be safer. But it's not that. We actually want the it should be base64 URL encoded. Do I have a decode for that? Don't think so. But it's just the difference of these two characters at the end here. So let's look at the look at the actual function, so we don't recreate something that is already there. Let's see here, manual, strict. Nope, doesn't really solve the problem we had. So we need to do a string replace before we can do that. So function. Base 64 decode URL. Then we have string, and then first off we want to replace all the underscores with plus. Yeah. And then we want to change up the minus with dash, because those are not something that we want to have in a URL. And then we can do this decode here of string and return. That would be an easy base64 decode URL function. So we get the URL decoded here. We put it over here. And we also put it down here. So now we have a data URL down there. That should just be a cleanup, so that's fine. So now we need to go back here and go to fetch, fetch page. So I have something that encodes we have this encode base64 thingy, and I don't really like this because it's just using ASCII, and byte to ASCII is not great for encoding. Yeah. But I wonder if there is a better one. The problem here is that this byte to ASCII in JavaScript does not support base64 things. So that's why we are doing all this things inside here in order to handle base64. No, to handle Unicode characters in a better way. And the same goes for this one down here. So these functions are not good for Unicode characters. But then again, in a URL you should not have Unicode characters, right? So if we do a function URL down here with a string, it will do the first part here. and then place. We have a search value and a replace value. So here we should be able to replace plus with underscore, and we should be able to replace replace value, search value. Aha. So do you do like that perhaps? Sounds like then we should be able to do like that and return, because these are so simple. And slash should be minus. Get all the tooltips. So if we have this fetch up here, page, we do that instead. How does that work? Let's see. We got something that looks like a Bay64-ish thing, and then we have this padding at the end, and I believe that is something that we want to remove as well, because that's not good in URL, and the padding is strictly not required. That should be good, I think. Like that. So there we go. Now we sent something through and we got some result back. We didn't get any image, but we got the, at least got the value back. So let's go somewhere else here and pick another product, perhaps that one, just for funsies. And push that through. Now we have the equal sign back there. Do we have an equal sign on this one as well? No? So why did the equal sign return? Oh, Jesus. Still an equal sign. Thought we replaced all equal signs. JavaScript replace. Does it replace the first ones? We need to do replace all, perhaps. Replacement searches the string for a specific value or regular expression, returns a string where the specific values are placed. Note that if you are replacing a value and not a regular expression, only the first instance of the value will be replaced. We need to use the global verifier, so /g, in order to replace all of them. Okay. So here we need to do something like that. And here we can do something like that. So they are even hard to handle in these cases. I think equal sign should be a K to use in a regular expression. So there we go. Keep that one, reload, and send it through. Yeah. Working like a charm. Solve it. So that was the problem. So now we have a more robust fetch page algorithm. So do we have any other good ones? I think iNet worked pretty. It's a Swedish site for things computer related. Let's pick just one of their products here. Yeah, so it works just fine with another product. So that's good. So let's go back to our extension here. I've created my first manifest and an extension. So then we need to add a background script that we can do. And we can look for a color. We can say that we want permission for storage. And we say that this is the background page. So let's see if we can find a solution for our specific problem here. Chrome extension development button to handle URL. Visit URL and click a button. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. We have a background JS. It's persisted. Yeah. Browser action. So this is something that we want. And then we add the tabs update. So there we can update the thing when we click on the browser action. So that's one thing we can do. But I think we can just try to implement the browser action and do a simple alert. That could be our first goal here. So in order to do that, we try to do it without any permissions. See if that's okay. And we add the background script first. So go to the manifest here. And I think they wanted it to be here somewhere. That's fine. Background. Persistent. Yeah. And we go back here. And then we want our browser action. And I guess that the icon here, we should have an image for the icon. I think we can use the icon of the page, add URL, call that thing there. So let's see here, we want an image. We have some assets here, we have a logo that is SVG, we have an image here. Let's take one icon, that one, and put that in the extension here. No, I don't want to move it, I want to copy it, like that. So we want the icon 144 x 144. So let's see if that works. So we have extensions here. Reload. Okay, we don't have the background script yet. Let's create that one. Background JS. And we wanted some code in there as well, right? We want this one, browser action. Like that. And we don't want to update any tabs. We can do like that, and we can console log the Chrome tabs and see if we can read it. And then we can do an alert. We clicked it. Let's see if that works. Back to extensions here. So why can't... There we can activate. This one we can't activate for some reason. Update. Updating. If we remove that one, we load this extension. Errors. Let's see here. Caught a reference error. Home! Chrome! So let's give it a C. Chrome browser exit. Let's go back. Reload. Okay. Yeah. So. Okay, where do my action, if we allow it in incognito, perhaps, and then we will create an incognito window. No, don't see it there. We clicked it. So in this bar here we have the extension, so we can actually click it. So here we also see it as an action. Why don't we see it up here? Because we see Coursera has its own, Evernote has its own, Grammarly has its own. So we can pin it. Then we can add a URL here and say, oh, we clicked it. So why isn't it pinned by default? Is that something that you need to do in your extension? And if we look here and then click here, we don't get anything. But if we go in here and look at the inspect here, we can inspect this page. Do we get... We don't get any... Oh, we get an object here. So this is the output of the tab that we had in there. So let's see here if we can find something that we can use here. So we have the window type. Let's see. We go to this site, click again. Yeah, we clicked it. And here we get a new one. Can we see if we can find a URL here? Status. Tab status. Yeah, let's Google it. Reading URL from extension. Can I get a URL from the extension? Tab 0, get URL. Permission tabs. Okay, so we need a permission here for the tabs, and then we can just get selected. Okay. So let's go back to our extension here. So first off, we need to go into manifest and give ourselves the tabs permission. Like that. I think we can put that on one row. Doesn't really add readability to have it any other way. And let's go back to the code here. I wonder if I can do it inside here. Let's alert it. So we have the tab link here, tab link, and also like that. Is that good? Let's see. And so let's go back to this and click. We clicked it. So I guess that you need to go to the extension, reload it. So we got a navigation over here. We click here. We got a URL. And we got the URL over here. So that's good. That's good. The problem I have now is that when we install this extension from the page, we need to add the ID of the current user in order to be able to add the URL to that user. So adding Chrome extension from page with parameter. No, we are not adding, we are installing Chrome extension from page with parameter. Chrome extension install parameter. I don't really get it. Anybody done this before? Have any idea on how to proceed? You're more than welcome to add something to the comments or to the chat. Or else I will continue to look for it here. Let's see, Chrome extension. Perhaps we can have that as an action, actually. We can have it as another configuration action of our plugin. Then again, can a plugin remember things? Can we store information in a plugin? How do you do that? So once you're published, you can have a link to it here to install it. Yeah. Checking if it's already installed. And if already installed, perhaps I will do some research of this off stream. So let's see if we can figure this one out. Storing values in Chrome extension. Storage. So we need to have storage permission. So let's go in here and give ourselves a storage permission. So, and then we can do storage in cassette, storage in get. Okay. So we just have key value and the value is set. And then we have get the key later. So then we do this, we go here. Go back to our background JS here. And first off, we need to create multiple browser actions. Maybe you can only have one. Can you have multiple browser actions? Plugin. Chrome extension multiple. Actions, browser actions. No, each section must. You can create multiple extensions that pass messages. No, that's not what we want. So I think that the first action. We need to store the values later, but first off, we can just fetch the tab. Then we have this, and let's take the other one as well, like that. And we say that this is our stuff ID. The stuff ID. If we get the stuff ID and the if not stuff ID. So if we don't get the stuff ID back, then we need to figure out what the actual stuff ID should be, and then set that value, and then put that in here. So tab link, and that's URL. So URL tab link. So this is the my stuff URL. Let's see here, JavaScript parse URL, parsing URL in JavaScript. Yeah, that's one way to do it. URL API, new URL. So first off, we need the new keyword, and then we need search params. And search params. And then we can get the name. So my stuff URL search params. That should be my param. Let's give us some vars here. And param get URL. Nope. ID. And that should be my value. So there we have a way to set the first URL ID. And this should only be done if value is something. If we don't have any value, then we don't set anything. And else, let's see here. Stuff ID. Don't set that. So else down here. Let's do an else statement. Stuff ID should be equal to result. Stuff ID. And then we can do alert of stuff ID. And tab link. So now we should be able to run our plugin in our browser, be able to go to the stuff to add page, set our ID there in our storage, and then go to another page and get both the ID and the current tab URL. So that's the goal here. So if we go over to the extensions, reload that, it's reloaded. We see here that it's reloaded. We go to this. Here we have an ID. If we click on that, we got the undefined here. And I think that's fine. And then we get this URL here. That's expected. If we go to this page then, and then click, I still get undefined and the URL. So that's not expected. So what did actually happen here? We see that the value is actually set to this value. So why is it undefined here? That's a bit weird. do a console log of result. Or is it that we have a different context here, perhaps? Perhaps we need to be in here in order to get that value. Might be the case. Because I think they are asynchronous. So let's try that. Reload this. Go back here. Run that. Yep, then we have this URL. And we get the URL here. So that's fine. And we go here, run this. We still get this one. And we also get this one. So that's good. So now we have a couple of IDs we can work with here. Then I believe that we need to move a function that we had from our page here. So we move these ones over. So we have those functions. And we can do run the encode base64 URL on that. So see if that works. Should be just JavaScript, so that should work. We have the first and the second, so that just works. Fine. Now we need to have this one implemented in such a way that we can send an ID to it and it will do this one and a save. I think we need to copy some code. So, new file. Save URL. Let's call it like that. And then we need to have some of this code here first off. So this is the save function. It has an ID and a data. And then we need the load function. So it will actually load that ID. So let's go back here. So after we've done all of that, we'll load it and we will get data here. This is a base64 encoded data string. No, this is not a base64 encoded, it's a JSON string. So parse JSON, I believe we have. Do we have such a function in PHP? PHP parse JSON decode. Yeah, we have that function. So if we do that, and we take our data here, and then we do data array, and now comes the tricky part. We need to have this fetch page, the middle part here, as a function. So I think we need to do some refactoring. So if we create a new file here, so what do you call something that has all the functionality? Good question. URL fetcher. And then we have a function. URL get URL data. Like that. PHP. And then we will copy over everything here. Pretty much. Like that. And this will return data. Like that. And the only thing that we want to change up here is this one. So this should be input URL. Input URL. So URL. No, we don't have that. So then we put it up here. Input URL. And here we say get URL that. Get URL data. And then we need to require ones. URL fetcher PHP. So now we don't need to implement that one again. I wonder if the URL fetcher need to have... No, we don't need to have the config there. Because we don't do any saving. So we don't have any data there. So now we have new data here is equal to the get URL data of, call this a URL. And then we need to have the no, the fetch URL handles to decode that URL thingy. Oh, just realized we have some functions here that don't really work well within a function. So let's move those out. Put that back here somewhere. Like that, perhaps. Can have it at the top, because we don't do anything before we have validated everything. So we don't have any more functions here, so that's good. Sorry. So now we have the new data here. So the data array should have a push. Or is it array push, perhaps? Data array, new data, something like that. And then what we want to save down here is this one, but we want to both base64 encode it and JSON encode it and so on. So let's say encoded data is equal to base64 encode JSON encode of the data array. So that's something that we want to do, and then we can save that down here. So we keep the ID. So now I think we have created pretty much the function. Let's see how the array push is working. Is it even the right keyword? So we have the array and then we have some mixed things and we will push those in there. So that seems fine. So let's see here now. We go back to this background thingy here. So now we want to do a fetch post from an extension. Chrome extension fetch. Can do fetch post even. Let's see here. Seems that we can just use fetch right off the bat. Or do we need to have... Oh, we seems that we can reuse our function calling here. So let's go to our JSON file here, or your JavaScript file. And then we do this fetch push thingy. Where do we have that? There we have that. Back to this one. So here we have the fetch with a post. And what we want to do is use stuff ID as our ID. And then we want the URL to be the encoded base64 URL thingy over here, like that. And that should pretty much be it. We need to change this one as well to save URL. So let's see how we did. Did we create something that works? First off, we need to do that. Then we go back here, we take another product. Let's go here, do some more routers. Let's add that one. Yeah, seems to work. And the save data seems to work as well. So now we go here to another one, Linksys. Take one of these. We go into the extensions, reload the extensions. Then go here, we took a network tab. And then we go to that page, click here. We got a fail. We see here that we do an form data and we do that, but we got a failed response. So let's go to our console here. No. Yeah, we need to do this against a server, of course, because we are not. So let's do just local host 8000 for the moment. This should say stuff to buy.app later on, but just to try it out, let's go back to the browser, reload the extension, and push the button. So now it goes there. Still got a failure. And did we get... Now we got this cannot redeclare only previously declared in. Okay. So we have these two functions here, and those are already defined. That one is defined, but not the other one. So we can't redefine that one. Fine. That's a simple bug to solve. I like simple bugs, and I cannot lie. So, access to fetch from origin has been blocked by course policy. No course. Okay. Let's change that up then. No course. Can't really have that one now, or can we? Clear all. Back. Load. Go here. Go to the site. Click. We got a good one. We got some notices here. We got a warning. No such file or directory. So that's no good. Undefined index. ID. Stuff to buy. And then a URL. So if we go back here, we have the ID, the URL. We use get here. Incorrect, incorrect, incorrecto. So let's try this again. Array push, expect one to be an array. Null given. Strange. Let's do some printing here. Data. And then data array. Push. Got one null. I expect to get two nulls, right? Why do we get one? Let's do var dumps instead. So a little bit more descriptive. Where is it? Oh, I don't remember. Var dump. Yeah. So let's go back to this window. Go back here. Push. So first off, we got that file. Yeah, that doesn't really look like much. So, let's go here, add another product. So let's go back to here. Now we have a lot more. If we go to this page, take another product, We don't want to destroy our file. So that's okay. So now we got a lot of things. Did we get an update here? The only way we can see that is reloading here. And we got another one. Yeah, it was that one as well. So it seems like our little extension here works. Cool. We built an extension. That's very cool. Haven't done that. Perhaps we can clean up the code, perhaps we can find ways to make it more robust and ways to not destroy the data if we get any errors and so on. That's something that we will look into. But I've been going for 1 hour and 40 minutes now. So I think this is a good length of a stream. We actually created a plugin today. I didn't expect that. I hope that you found this stream interesting. Thank you for engaging and talking to me and being here for this stream. Very much appreciated. If you like this stream, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. I do these streams when I can on Wednesdays. I release at least 1 video a week with some good content. I hope that you watch that one. And yeah, I really hope that you like this content and that you are back for more. See you in the next video or the next stream. Bye.